The Witcher world is a big one. It's filled with different people and cultures, so unsurprisingly, people will look for something to believe in. So today, we'll be talking about the religions of the Witcher world. Let's start off with the religion you are most likely familiar with, and that being the Church of the Eternal Fire. The religion is present in all the Witcher games, and in the first Witcher game, the first person that is aligned to this religion that you meet is the Reverend, and you can meet him while exploring the outskirts of Vizima. Legend has it that this religion was started when human colonists first visited Novigrad, which back then was abandoned because if you remember it was at first an elven city. When they entered, they saw a strange glow coming from one of the buildings. When they went inside, they saw a mysterious figure standing near a ball of fire. When the humans asked him what's going on, he said, "I guard the eternal fire. As long as this flame will stand in place, so long this city and your kin will endure." After this, he disappeared. After seeing this, it's normal that they thought this was some sort of divine intervention, so they designated some people to guard the flame. It's not 100% certain, but I think it's safe to assume that this group eventually became the Temple Guard. Because Novigrad was the only brick city in the region, many people came to inhabit the city, so naturally the followers of this religion multiplied. Eventually, followers of another religion called the Creve came to the city and said that their god, which is basically a thunder god, was the one that blessed the eternal fire, thus giving credibility to the church. The Church of Eternal Fire is strongly against the use of magic and against non-humans. This is very visible in The Witcher 3, because if you spend some time in Novigrad, you will certainly see non-humans and mages being burned at the stake. The religion is to some extent tolerant to witches, because even though they are non-humans, they hunt dangerous monsters. But they still don't trust witches, evident by the fact that Menge, the leader of the witch hunters, personally comes to warn Geralt about his presence in the city. The leader of the church is Hierarch Hemelfart, which is kinda the Pope of the Northern Realms, but during the game you can also meet other priests and reverends of the church, some deranged but some actually good people. The church is very protective of their religion, and this is shown by the fact that there is an encounter in Novigrad in which Geralt can mock a priest of the church, and after a few days he will send a couple of soldiers to kill him. The church also has immense political power, especially in Redania, because Radovid is funding the witch hunters. The eternal fire is a symbol of hope, progress, and enduring the misfortune. But before continuing to the next religion, I would like to ask you to subscribe if you found anything I had to say interesting up until this point. And if you are anyway going down there to subscribe, why not leave a like as well? Thank you. The next religion we're gonna explore is the Cult of the Lionhead Spider, or Koramagtera. The followers of this religion worship a giant spider that they consider the weaver of human fate. He weaves all humanity's fate in a giant cobweb that needs to be corrected. The followers also sometimes commute human sacrifices in order to keep the web pure. The religion was founded in 1161 by a merchant named Ambrosio in Loredo, with 8 other worshippers. Soon more people joined the cult, mostly members of the local nobility, for whom the new religion was something mysterious and exotic. When the word of Koramagtera worshippers reached the royal officials and the priests of Creve, an investigation was started during which many of the worshippers were tortured. It turned out that nearly all of the town council and leaders worshipped the Lionhead god. Ambrosio and all the other captured cult members were burned at the stake. But luckily for the religion, some of its members escaped, and they started to spread the religion in the northern realms. But because they were persecuted, they built temples in forests and other secluded regions. In The Witcher 1, you can find one of these temples in the sewers of Vizima by finding the corpse of a knight that has a key that will lead you to the shrine. Abigail, a witch that lived in the outskirts of Vizima, is also a follower of the Great Spider, and this is proven by the fact that if you let her be lynched by the Reverend, she will curse you in the name of the Great Spider. In the opening of The Witcher 2, in Foltest's camp, you can find and get the amulet from a group of soldiers that is later revealed to be cursed by one of the priestesses of the Lionhead Spider. The giant spider is associated more often than not with death and sudden death, but that should not come as a surprise seeing what we talked about. The next religion is the religion that is most popular in the Empire of Nilfgaard. This cult is called the Great Sun, and as its symbol, well, it has a great sun. This religion is very old because it's based on the elven cult of nature, but it wasn't always the main religion of the empire. This religion was popularized during the reign of the predecessor of Emperor Fergus van Emrys, who is Emir's father. This predecessor popularized the religion in order to unite the empire, and in the case that he would die, all he has built wouldn't just crumble away. Instead, the people would find a common cause in the Great Sun and carry his legacy onward. In exchange for this backing of the religion, the cult would fully support the emperor in every decree that he issued. After his death, Emperor Fergus issued the March 8th Edict, in which he made the Great Sun the official religion of the empire. But his reign was cut short by a person called the Usurper. In this usurper's reign, the religion lost popularity, but after Emir van Emrys dethroned him, he reinstated the Great Sun as the official religion. The cult has strong ties with everything connected to Nilfgaard, including the army, because during The Witcher 3, we can see Nilfgaardian armors decorated with the symbol of the sun. The religion is led by a high priest, but it's unclear if this priest is also the emperor or a totally different person. Curiously enough, the priests of the Great Sun aren't allowed to use magic, and if they are discovered to have magical abilities, they are sent to the magical academy in Loch Grim, because I guess it's more useful to have them in the army than practicing religion. The Grand Temple of this religion is located in the city of the Golden Towers, which is also known as Nilfgaard, which is Nilfgaard's capital. They should have chosen a different name because it felt really weird to say that sentence out loud. But we move on. The next religion we'll be discussing is a little more unknown, but we're gonna have to talk about it anyway. This religion is Veyopatis. The only encounter we can have with the religion happens in The Witcher 2 in Flotsam, and I'm gonna read you the journal entry that you have after discovering one of the temples dedicated to this religion. Veyopatis, a forgotten god of the Pontar Valley, is still worshipped in certain forest settlements, but the times of his greatness and popularity are long past. A few priestesses and witches make offerings to him, yet no common folk wish to take part in these rites. In the era of human colonization, Veyopatis was a guardian god, often associated with rivers, from which humans drew benefit. He guarded people from the dangers of the forest. Poles bearing his likeness marked the border between areas that had been tamed and those that remained wild and dangerous. Veyopatis gave people fish, made sailing easier, and his name was used to ward off beasts. Yet he remained petulant and fierce. In this time, if those wandering through the woods come across stone idols with gaping jaws, they believe them to be the likeness of fierce monsters rather than statues commemorating a once loved deity. So we can tell that this god is very old, but not many people worship him anymore, likely to the popularization of other religions that we talked about in the next one on the list, namely the Cult of Melitele. This religion is centered around this figure called Melitele. She takes three forms: the young beautiful maiden, the mother, and the crone, symbolizing the stages of life for women. So unsurprisingly, this religion is quite popular among women, but not only. The reason many people in Velen are faithful to Melitele is because she is also a symbol of nature, and seeing that many people in Velen are farmers, it's only natural they worship this goddess. But also in Velen, the figure of Melitele has over time sort of merged with the figure of the crones of Crookback Bog, even though the crones are not Melitele. While exploring Velen, you can also come across statues of these three stages of Melitele. Melitele is very similar to Freya from Skellige, and the reason for this is that they might be the same god just under different names because of the culture change. The cult is led by High Priestess Nenneke, or Mother Nenneke from the temple in Elander, but there are other priestesses as well. The last religion we're gonna cover today is the Cult of Lebioda. The followers of this religion worship the prophet Lebioda. This religion is most popular in Toussaint, as I'm sure you know if you play the Blood and Wine expansion, because those guys don't shut up about him. The religion was brought to the duchy by one of Lebioda's followers, named Saint Plegmund. He performed miracles, and soon after, Duchess Carobeta proclaimed the Cult of Lebioda as the official religion of the duchy, and ordered for a great temple alongside the statue representing the prophet to be built along the banks of the Sans Retour. But this religion was also present in the northern regions of the continent, seen by the fact that Queen Zuleika of Kovir was a follower of this religion and lived most of her life according to the teachings of the prophet. Lebioda died when he was eaten by a dragon. He tried to drive away, but the story doesn't end there, because the remains of the prophet were recovered from the dragon's shit by his followers. In the present day, his remains rest at the Great Temple on Temple Isle in Novigrad, and during certain religious ceremonies, people are allowed to kiss his remains. We know for certain that Lebioda visited Toussaint at least once to hear the prayers of the faithful. The grand statue of Lebioda is based on a real-life statue of Saint Peter in St. Peter's Square in the Vatican, but is also similar to a statue called Christ the King in Veyopatis in Poland. I'm sorry about the pronunciation. But with all that being said, this is the end of today's video. If you liked it, remember to subscribe and leave a like, and tell me in the comments down below which of this religion you found most interesting. For me, honestly, it has to be the cult of the Lionhead spider, because not that much is known about it and it's pretty dark. But thank you for watching, I'll see you soon.